Hello, I'm Samantha Anderson, Director of Communications for the Newton School District, and I'm here with Superintendent Dr. Deb Ham, and we're here to give you a quick recap of last night's board meeting. Before we get started, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section and we'll get to them as soon as possible. So, Dr. Ham, one of the major decisions was on a construction manager at risk, or CMR, for the potential bond. Could you let me know what the board decided and what all went into that decision?
Well, last night the board did approve McCowan Gordon as our construction management at risk firm. That was following the recommendation of the selection committee. There were 4 members of the community on that committee and 2 board members, and they met over several weeks to both look at the qualifications of different firms and also to interview different firms. So there were 6 applications to begin with. That was narrowed down to 4 firms. 4 firms were interviewed, and there was a rubric for each part of the process. So there was a rubric for the process of their qualifications that they submitted. There was a rubric for the interview process. There was an interview for their proposal, and then there was a rubric to kind of tie it all together. So that process went on. Each individual portion of it was scored, and then the scores were pulled together and tabulated, and then there was a recommendation that came. This is all part of state statute, and so it is well defined how we do it. So every school district in the state of Kansas basically has a very similar process that they go through when they're looking at a construction management at risk firm.
And what will the CMR be able to help us with in the future?
What they will be providing for us will be upfront advice and counsel as it regards a potential bond or facilities upgrades that need to happen. So we'll be looking at them for not only providing cost information about what particular costs might be associated with a particular project, or also what would be some alternate solutions to the problem that we're trying to solve. So for example, if we say we're going to add space in a particular corner of the school and we look at that, they might come back and say, well, yes, you could do that. However, your electric lines are running through there, or your gas lines or water or something. If you put it in this other part of the school, you will save that cost. And so we'll be looking at them to help us make really good decisions about the costs associated, so we can be really good stewards of our taxpayer money.
And then another topic discussed was the chiller at the high school. Can you let me know what they decided there?
Yes, well, we'll be happy to report that the kids are cool because the temporary chiller is working just fine, but we needed to have a permanent solution. So we have been working on that, and last night the board was provided 4 different options to consider for both an air-cooled or a water-cooled solution. We are going to go with an air-cooled solution. It'll be a 400-ton unit, which is the same ton unit that we currently have, or that broke down. And they ranged in cost from $500,000 or almost $600,000 to $1.2 million. And what occurred then was discussion about, so what do we need and why is there this wide difference in cost? Well, the wide difference in cost was related to providing redundancy for one thing, and also related to pulling the boilers out. The current boilers are 45 years old, so they are getting towards the end of their life, but they also have some life still in them. So they're not needing to be replaced right this minute. So what we'll be doing is replacing the 400-ton with another 400-ton. And I believe the cost is going to come in somewhere around $360,000. So we were able to meet our needs and also do it at a relatively good cost, all things considered.
And the board also discussed an extension for the Public Building Commission, or PBC. Can you just tell us a little bit about that as well?
Sure. The PBC was first formed in 2004, and it's a cooperative agreement between the city, the school district, and the Newton Rec Commission. And that Public Buildings Commission looks at places where the community, those three different agencies, organizations benefit from the use. So the football field, the baseball fields that are in town are all part of things that are covered under the PBC. A 0.8 mil from each agency is contributed every year. Part of that money is used to pay down the debt for the original 2004 upgrades to Fisher Field, and also provide for turf replacement every 10 years or so. So we have done that every year since 2004. And in addition to paying down the debt and making necessary set-asides for the turf, we've also been able to provide for a number of upgrades and improvements to other facilities, such as press boxes at Kelch Field, new concession stands, new press boxes out at Centennial Park. So all of those are things that the PBC manages, and each entity contributes money towards that.
All right, great. And there were a couple other things discussed. Could you just share some of the highlights of what they talked about?
Sure. Well, one thing that we talked about was the need to replace a member that is appointed by the board on the Newton Rec Commission. We had a person that could no longer fill their term. So Brandon Cheeks, the assistant principal at Santa Fe 5-6 Center, has accepted that opportunity to be involved with the Rec Commission. And so that was a good thing to celebrate. We also had a shout out to our semifinalist, Kansas Teacher of the Year, Mike McConnell and Debbie Miller-Deely. And both of them will be at a board meeting at a later time. But for right now, we wanted to make sure we recognize them. We celebrated some of the many great opportunities that are available to our students in our career and technical education program through a report by Melinda Rangel. So lots of really great things going on in our district, and we continue to want to make sure that our public and our patrons are aware of all that.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ham. And thank you guys for watching. As always, you can still ask questions in the comments section. And our next meeting, we have 2 meetings on the same night. We have our CVT meeting and our board meeting, and that's on September 24th. The Community Vision Team, or CVT, is at 5:30. The board meeting's at 7. So we'd love to see any of you there. But for now, thanks for watching.